often enough, we don't know what the best converting landing pages or the best app home screen is to get more people into your app. We want to convert more people into customers. However, how do we know what the best way is? This is where A/B testing can come in handy. Stay tuned. A/B testing is basically an experiment that you set up where everything is the same except for one variable. And that one variable that you want to change is called an independent variable. And often enough, this is a variable that you can control. Furthermore, changes in your independent variable lead to changes within your dependent variable. For example, the color of a product. The color of a product is something you control. You can make it black, you can make it red, you can make it blue, whatever it is. But each color might drive more sales than the other one because the style might be better or it might resonate with your target audience better. You don't really know until you test it out. So you keep everything else the same except for one independent variable. This is the independent variable that you want to optimize. You want to see which combination of the independent variable or which input leads to the maximum amount of dependent variable output. So once you've picked an independent variable that you want to test for, keep everything else the same and create variations of that independent variable and then let the experiment run. A common mistake that many people do is that they don't let the experiment run for long enough. You won't get statistically significant data, and on top of that, most people are using absolute scales to measure if something is doing better than the other thing. Matter of fact, there's a principle in statistics called the law of large numbers. Basically what it means is that over time, with a large number of trials, the probability of an event occurring will reach its true value. Although this is an extreme example, imagine if you flipped a coin 3 times. Now, you could have 2 heads and 1 tails. In this case, the probability of getting heads is 66% and the probability of getting tails is 33%. Now, from common sense, we all know that's not true. This is the same case in your own business. If you don't let your experiments run for long enough, you will never get to the true value of what the probability of an event is. So don't cut your experiments short. However, now on the flip side, how do you know when to cut an experiment and not let it run for way too long? In order to avoid that, you want to continually check the statistics every so often. If the probability of an event hasn't changed much from the last time you checked, well, it might be time for you to cut the experiment. For example, let's say on day 3 of an ad experiment, you see that ad A has a 5% conversion ratio and ad B has a 2.5 conversion ratio. Now, you don't know if the experiment has run for a long enough time. So on day 5, you check the statistics again. Now, ad A is at 6% and ad B is now at 3%. Those are pretty big changes in the numbers, so you want to keep letting the experiment run. Now, let's say on day 7 that ad A only does 6.1% and ad B only does 3.1%. Those changes aren't that big anymore, so you might as well cut the experiment at that point. So now that you've got your experiment run and you know when to stop it, now it's time to analyze the data. This is another place where people mess up a whole lot because they start to use absolute scales and not comparative scales. For example, say that ad A has a conversion rate of 2.8% and ad B has a conversion rate of 2.9%. On absolute scales, ad B did better than ad A, so maybe we should just start doing ad B. But hold on, let's use comparative statistics here to see if that's really the case. If we made 2.8% the new 100%, well, 2.9% is only 3.5% better than 2.8%. In this case, ad B isn't all that much better than ad A. They're about the same. So this experiment would be inconclusive and you'd have to find another independent variable that can really deliver a huge impact on your conversion percents. So you want to make sure that you don't use absolute scales to compare things. Use comparative statistics to compare things. So now that you know the process, you know the strategy of how to do an A/B test, let's put it into a real world case scenario. Say you've made an app that helps track progress of your content marketing in a better way. You want to get more users to download your app. How can we do this? Well, we can use social media advertising to get downloads. However, we don't know what the best performing ad would be. This is where A/B testing can come in handy. First thing you'd have to do is identify the independent variable. What are you going to keep the same and what are you going to change? In this case, we're going to change the ad image. We're going to make different ad images and keep everything else the same. That means the ad copy, the ad text, the ad headline, the landing page copy, the landing page headline, everything is the same except for the ad image. And in this case scenario, our dependent variable is user downloads. That's what we want more of. So you go out and you do some market research to figure out what does your target audience care about. Now, after your market research, you create some variations of the ad image you think will do extremely well. Now you create identical ad sets. Everything is the same. All the ad copy is the same. The text headlines are the same, except for the ad images. You would then let your experiment run all the way up until the statistics and the probabilities of events start to level out. So what does that mean? If the conversion rate of a certain ad is not changing by much anymore, well, it's time to cut the experiment. If it's still changing a whole lot based on your past recording, let the experiment keep running. So after experiment is done and the numbers start to level out, it's time to analyze the data. This is where you would use some comparative math to figure out, hey, is ad image A better than ad image B? And if there's statistically significant data and you use comparative math and you see that there's a huge difference, well, you found an ad image that works better than the other one. And you can keep running more and more A/B tests to figure out, hey, is there an ad image that is even better than the ad image that we just found? So now that you know what A/B testing is and you've experienced a real world case scenario, I've got some bonus tips for you. But before we go into the bonus tips, I want to let you guys know that on this channel, we like to talk about how we can work smarter, not just work harder than the competition using technology to our advantage. So if you're all about that life, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know exactly when content drops. Let's go on to the bonus tips. So now that you know what A/B testing is and how to use it, we should answer the question, why? Why should we use A/B testing and not something else? Let's get into it. As a reminder, A/B testing is a framework that allows you to optimize your independent variables for your dependent variables. It's just a tool, and just like any other tool, it can be used properly or misused. For example, if you wanted to screw something in, you wouldn't use a jackhammer. You'd want to use a screwdriver. And in the same way, A/B testing can't be applied everywhere. So despite you knowing what A/B testing is and how to use it, do you know when and why to use it? Let's go over that. First of all, if you want to test more than just one independent variable, A/B testing is not the way to go. You want to go more down the route of machine learning. And if you want to learn more about machine learning, I have a video on that. Hit that card that's popping up right now. It goes over the ways you can use machine learning in your business to make more money. Second of all, A/B testing can take a lot of time and it can be very costly. You need a whole lot of data to make any significant conclusions, and they can be costly if you're running ad sets. So if you're a brand new startup, don't try to optimize small things like a color on the button. You should be optimizing for big things, such as your product offerings. Although that A/B test still might take time and might still be costly, you're getting more bang for your buck because you're optimizing the big things before you start to optimize the small things. And finally, the purpose of A/B testing is to optimize every facet of your business to drive more results based on a dependent variable. So you gotta be a systems thinker. You can't just optimize one little piece and just optimize that little piece because it might be ruining the rest of the system. So you have to think in a systems manner. You have to say, okay, this is one little piece, we optimize it for the big dependent variable. And this little piece, it optimizes the dependent variable. And they both work together to optimize the dependent variable. Do not fall into the trap of saying, hey, I'm going to optimize just this little subsystem and its dependent variable and then forget about the rest. That's the easiest way to misuse A/B testing. So in conclusion, A/B testing is a powerful yet very simple tool that you can use to improve every facet of your business, and it's not just limited to marketing. You can A/B test as a developer for your site speed. You can A/B test as a salesperson to see which sales pitch is the best. You can use it in a lot of different ways because A/B testing is not a business framework, it's a general framework for life. So if you have any questions about what A/B testing is and you still don't fully understand what A/B testing is, hit me up, reach out to me on any social media account, hit me up, we'll discuss about A/B testing. And if you just want to talk about business, hit me up, I love it. Gonna talk about it. And finally, go check out sunnychopper.com. I've got so many resources on there, book summaries, blog, and much more. Courses are coming out, everything's coming out. I'm working super hard on the website, and it's gonna be super amazing because on this channel, we like to work smarter, not just work harder in the competition. And if you're all about that life, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when content drops. This has been Sunny Chopper. Peace.